I'm Allison Schreier, and I am one of the founders of Zinnia. And I know I have spoken with many of you before, and you know that my Zinnia came from my experience as a family caregiver supporting my husband who had dementia. And it has evolved. We have learned because of all of you that we have the way that people use Zinnia has taught us more about what people need with Zinnia, and we've tried our best to be responsive and keep changing the product so that it meets people's needs all the better. So I'm going to here's how I plan on doing this and why I'm doing this. So I had this experience about I've had two experiences in the last couple of months where I have been invited into long-term care communities where people have been using Zinnia for a couple of years, and they welcomed me to come in and just kind of chat a little bit about some of the updates that we've made to Zinnia. And what I realized when I was there is that people who've been using Zinnia for quite some time are just scratching the surface. Like they found one or two videos that work well with their sweetheart or their mother or whomever it is. And so they just watch those videos over and over again. When we did research, and we've now done research in a bunch of places, so we were at the University of British Columbia for 2 years before we even put Zinnia out into the world. We were there for 2 years in long-term care with researchers in long-term care and hospital settings just to figure out how to get the content so that it was right. And out of that research, we came up with three main uses for Zinnia. One is that Zinnia videos are excellent for promoting connection and conversation. And in long-term care settings, that's not just between the person giving care and the person receiving, the two care partners. It's amongst people who are living with dementia. And I like to share this story that I was in a long-term care community where there were the Zinnia waterfalls, waterfalls of the world was on the screen, and there were two ladies sitting next to each other, and who were in memory care, and one of them said to the other, "Oh, that is my favorite waterfall. I've visited it many times." And the woman next to her said, "It's my favorite too." And I thought, that waterfall is in Papua New Guinea in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And I'm quite confident that neither of you have ever been there. But that's okay, because your reality in the moment is that that's a waterfall that you love, and it has started you talking to each other. So, use case number one, Zinnia as a tool to promote connection and conversation. And that was the main reason why I wanted Zinnia when I started building videos. It was because I had found that connections with my husband when he was living in long-term care had become very transactional, meaning like we talked about the weather, we talked about the traffic, we talked about the price of groceries, whatever it might be, but we didn't really talk. There was nothing meaningful. We didn't explore. And as he became nonverbal, that became even more of an issue. What do you talk about with a person who's nonverbal? And how do you keep driving a conversation when you're the only one who's talking? And what I knew because of work that I had done to become a dementia educator was that the power to take in visual input and process it, although it slows down in people with dementia, it is the most powerful way to connect with a person is through something visual. So if you're looking at something together, it gives you something to talk about. If I were working with supporting a person who loved baking, maybe what I would do is bring in one of their old baking pans, bring in a bread pan, bring in a recipe, give us something to look at together so that I can tell a story about it or they can. So connection and conversation. Number two is Zinnia as a tool to reduce and soothe agitation. And boy, oh boy, I hear so many stories both from family caregivers and people in long-term care who are both using Zinnia videos in the moment to soothe a person who is starting to get agitated, and who use Zinnia preemptively if they expect that there's going to be agitation. maybe before we're going to the doctor's appointment, before I bring that up, I first set a happy tone by watching a video that tends to soothe my person. And then I say, oh, by the way, let's get in the car. We've got someplace we need to go. So soothing and reducing agitation. And then the third is Zinnia for to support activities of daily living. And that's with our videos like let's use the toilet, let's shower, let's get dressed, let's go back to sleep, let's go to sleep in the first place. So we created those videos with the understanding that for people with dementia, it can be really helpful to see the thing that we're about to do before we do it. Because those activity of daily living videos establish that there are people here who are showering and they're okay with it. If I put on the let's drink water video, rather than saying to my dad, who is 89, hey dad, it's time to drink water, and him snapping at me and either saying, I'm 89 years old, I don't need you to tell me that I need to drink water, or him snapping at me and saying, I just had water, when he didn't, I can simply put on a video that is people drinking water and I have a couple of glasses of water on the table, and after we're watching, we both start drinking water. So those are the three main use cases that have been tested out rigorously again and again in different caregiving settings. We have also been adding a lot of content that is meant to be more cognitively stimulating. And I'm going to be sharing some of that today as well. So the easiest way for me to do this is to just go ahead and share my screen with Zinnia. And I'm just going to go through some of these use cases and talk about them. And then I would love to hear what you have to add or any questions that you have. So once again, quick reminder for those who have arrived since I said this, because I'm going to be sharing my screen, I'm not going to notice chats that are coming in. So if there's something that you want to say, I invite you to. You don't have to wait till the end, but just unmute and say it so that I can hear you. All right, so I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And I would appreciate a thumbs up. Do you guys currently see Zinnia? Yes. Okay. Heather, thank you. All right. So this is the Zinnia main screen, which I know some people have not ever seen Zinnia before. So this is where you land. Now I'm running it on a laptop. It looks a little bit different when you're on a television or a tablet, but the functionality is the videos are the same. So there are two places that I generally go here. One is that I just pop into channels, which shows me a list of channels. And I'll do that for now, but then I am going to go back to the browse screen because there's a lot of important stuff over there. So I had mentioned 3 use cases, 4 if we're also talking about cognitive support. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is Zinnia as a tool to connect and foster conversation with people. So the very first set of videos that we created were the interest videos. And this was because I found that if I were to watch, for instance, a video with my husband about hockey, because he loves hockey, it would give us something to talk about. So just as an example, and I do have my audio on. This is one of our really older videos. I do have my audio so that you can hear it, but I don't know if you'll be able to. It's always a little weird over Zoom. But let me go ahead and play this. And in fact, I'm going to turn that volume down because that's going to drive me crazy to try to have a conversation over it. Okay, so, oh, and I've got it going double speed. Sorry, it doesn't really go that fast. Wait a minute. By the way, this is actually a good conversation to have because you can change this, if I can get to it, you can change the speed setting so that you can even play it at 5.5 so that it's really, really slow. I'm just going to go to normal. I'm going to bring that volume all the way down, and I'm going to go back here to start. You guys are awesome for bearing with me. So the way that I would use this is if I was connecting with a person is we watch it together. If the person is nonverbal, and by the way, this is going to stutter and jump a little because we're watching it over Zoom, but if I were supporting a person who's sitting beside me, and by the way, research has shown that the best way to watch television or any kind of programming with a person with dementia, they absorb more if they're sitting with another person. Shoulder to shoulder, holding hands. If you are with them, then that makes them feel safe. It helps them to relax. And they know that this is something that other people are doing too. It normalizes it. Now, that's not to say that you can't use Zinnia videos for respite, right? If I was showing this video to my husband and he was engaged enough with it, and I'm going to pause right here for a second, and he were engaged, and I know that this is something that he generally likes, I would feel pretty comfortable stepping away and allowing him to watch on his own so that I could take a shower, go get the mail, start dinner, whatever it is that I need to do. So important that we take care of ourselves. Anyway, when I watch Zinnia videos with a person like my husband, I feel really good about just letting it flow through or pausing it and just saying, oh my gosh, look at the laces on those skates. I remember when you lace up your skates, it takes you a very long time. It's hard to get them tight. It's so hard to get those skates tight, isn't it? Now, how much more meaningful is that little conversation than me saying, the traffic on I-5 was horrible today? Oh my God. Oh shoot, I've got a little tear in this sweater. I wonder what they're going to be serving you for lunch today, right? If I'm able to bring the person I support to something that is meaningful to them, what we find is that they are more engaged, that they, so many stories of people who say, we thought mom was nonverbal, but when we showed her the sewing video, she started talking about sewing. The videos can serve as an unlock to get people communicating again, or even if they don't do that, to get them engaged and focused. So anyway, we would keep watching this video together. Now I'm just kind of pushing through it. And at any point in time, I might just stop and have a conversation and say, boy, that's got to be scary when he drops that puck and you've got two people like slapping their sticks together. That's got to be a little scary, isn't it? And you guys get the idea. So I'm using this video as a way to connect and have conversation with the person who I support. I'm going to go back to my channels for a moment. A lot of people use the nature videos to set a soothing tone. There was a conversation that I was invited to have with the Dementia Action Alliance, a wonderful group of people who have dementia who support each other. It's also, its members also include people who have mild cognitive impairment. And one of the ladies there asked me to play this Blooms video. And she said, this is the video that I play every time I start to get agitated, because I just sit and I watch it. And by the end of the video, I'm breathing more slowly. And I am back to being the person who I wish I was. This is why we also hear from caregivers who say, I watch the videos. I watch the videos. Because by the time the video is over, I'm ready to keep doing the stuff I need to do. So these videos as a mechanism to set a soothing tone, it's also important to recognize that every channel is essentially a playlist. So if I put on the forest video, when it ends, Life of the Butterfly is going to start. And when it ends, Lily Pond is going to start. Right now, there is not a way for me to reorganize these. However, we are about 2/3 of the way through a research project with Duke University that was funded by the NIH, where we are looking at, we've built a tool and we would like to implement it, which allows people to build their own playlists and to possibly schedule them so they can start at certain times. Right now, there is a way, like I could like a video. If I play the Busy Bees video, I've got my, oopsie, sorry, I'm kind of moving things around here. I'm just going to go here for a second. You know what? I'm sorry, I can't really do it with the way that I'm running this right now, but I can like a video. I can also, let me pause this. I can also download videos so that I can watch them offline. So that if we're going to the doctor's office, for instance, I could bring my iPad and have downloaded a bunch of videos if there are favorites of the person who I support. So, continuing the conversation about Zinnia videos as a tool to soothe and reduce agitation. So, what I was just talking about is the idea that the nature videos can set a soothing tone. But it can also be a little soporific, right? Like we had a team meeting. Apologies if people have heard this story before, but we had a team meeting and we decided that we would just put a video on in the background and we would have our conversation while the video was playing. And we put on that Busy Bees video, which is over an hour long. And about 15 minutes in, I was like, wait a minute, we're not talking. We were all just completely zoned out just watching the bees. So I can attest to the fact that they kind of slow things down. So again, back to this concept though of reducing and soothing agitation. When we were doing research at Vancouver General Hospital, they shared with us a story about this video, the classic Cars video. And this is one of our earliest videos. We used to just have still images, then we moved into using videos. And there was a gentleman who was at Vancouver General Hospital who had been brought in because of high agitation and they couldn't figure out how to soothe him in a community that he was living in. So they had the police come. He was delivered to the ER, and the hospital had no place where they could send him because there wasn't a community that would take him. Sadly, this is a story that plays out way too often. So he was effectively living at the hospital. And so now they're dealing with this guy who gets extremely angry and upset. They had figured out that he really likes cars. And so they set Zinnia up at the end of in a little room at the end of a hallway that had a projector, and the projector would shine Zinnia on the entire wall. They sent us a video where they had this guy walking into that space with a care member of the care staff on each side. They walk into the room and this video is playing, and you can tell when he enters the room the agitation, and he's frustrated that these people are with him. But he looks up and he sees the cars, and he walks up to the screen and he turns to face the people who are in the room with him, and he starts telling them about cars. So suddenly he's the expert in the room. And we all know that for people who are living with dementia, they often feel rather diminished. I remember when my husband couldn't work at Microsoft as an engineer anymore, so he was working as the guy who fed the fish at our local fish hatchery. And he stopped because he said, I don't want to do it anymore. They make me feel stupid. Because they treated him like he was a guy who couldn't understand things. And so to suddenly be in the position where you're the person who everybody's paying attention to because you know this and you can talk about it. That is one of the ways, and that's one of the reasons why watching just the right Zinnia video can reduce agitation in the moment. We had another conversation with a lady who was using the Zinnia Babies video in a long-term care setting. When this woman would start to get upset every day, they would show her the babies video, and they did that as a test because what they were supposed to do in that moment, per the doctor's orders, was medicate her. And they watched her becoming a fall risk, they watched her losing cognition, and they decided to try a video instead, and it worked. They were actually able to change her care plan so that they always used the baby's video as the thing that they would try before administering drugs. We just got a great testimonial the other day from a person who said, we use Zinnia instead of Ativan now. I love stories like that. So I've talked about Zinnia as a tool to connect and engage, to promote conversation. I've talked about Zinnia as a tool to reduce and soothe agitation. I am now going to talk about activities of daily living, which I mentioned briefly before. And the idea here is simply that I can use these videos to set and establish a routine. For instance, maybe every morning when the person who I support wakes up, I show them the sunrise video, which is over in the interest channel. So I show them the sunrise video. Then maybe we watch the coffee video, which is also in that channel. Then maybe we watch birds, which is in the animals channel. And then now that we're kind of, we've had, maybe we have the coffee while we're watching the coffee. Maybe we move over to a window and we're looking at birds while the birds video is playing. But then maybe what we do is it's time to shower. And so I start a video like get ready to shower. And the idea here is that get ready to shower. We're simply watching other people shower. That's it. It's nothing about like pick up the soap. It's not get a washcloth. It is simply that I watch people showering and I get the sense that that's what's coming and it's an okay thing. And I love getting stories from people who rely on these activity of daily living videos as part of their daily routine. So I would say that not only has research shown that Zinnia videos, the activity of daily living videos, help reduce stress around those activities. And by the way, I'm talking about stress for both the person living with dementia and the caregiver, because our overall thesis at Zinnia is if he's happy, I'm happy, right? So if his stress goes down, my stress goes down. But they also use the videos to help set routine. And routine, as you know, is so important for people who are living with dementia, a routine that they can count on. The next thing that I will talk about is, so those were the three main use cases. Connection and conversation, soothe and reduce agitation, support for activities of daily living. I want to talk about interesting ways that people use Zinnia videos to drive activities. So the sing-alongs, of course, are in and of themselves activities. I can put on any song, or in some cases it's a series of songs. Like Mary Sue Wilkerson it's 18 minutes of Christmas songs, 16 minutes of folk music sing-along. So it's a bunch of different songs. Alexis Baker, this lovely gal right here, has a company called Bridgetown Music. And we've had people who subscribe to Zinnia and now they also subscribe to Bridgetown. She has live events all the time, as well as many, 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 many recordings. And so with these, it's just a single song, like sitting down and singing House of the Rising Sun together or Sweet Home Alabama. And these are phenomenal, both in group and individual scenarios, to be able to just sit down and enjoy some music together. And one of the things that we've done, which I really appreciate, is that we've put the words at the bottom of every sing-along. I know, especially in long-term care settings, singing something like Love Me Tender, how many 22-year-olds who work in long-term care know the words to Love Me Tender, right? So it's great that they can sing along as well because we put those words up there. Going back to my channels for a moment. So I was getting into Zinnia for activities. So we're about to go out for a walk, me and my sweet friend, whoever that might be. And he doesn't want to go. I don't need to walk. Okay. Well then, let's just watch a video. He's down. Watching a video sounds good. So I put on the dog's video. And so we sit together on the sofa, cozy up, shoulder to shoulder, and we watch the dog's video. And while the dog's video is playing, maybe I do a little commentary, like, oh my gosh, look at that dog's hat. Why is he wearing that hat? When do we ever wear a hat like that? What do you think that's for? Oh, a birthday. I bet he's going to a birthday party. So I pause, I invite conversation. But anyway, what is in his mouth? Did he bring a sandwich into the pool? What do you think, sweetie? I don't know. What breed do you think that is? So again, I'm using the video itself as an activity. We're having conversation. We're thinking. When the video is over, I say, oh my gosh, you know what? This is a perfect time of day because people are going to be out there walking their dogs. Let's go see how many dogs we can count. Let's see if we can find a dog that looks like that dog that was swimming across the pool with a sandwich in his mouth. Or maybe I would go into the nature channel and I would watch something like the fall leaves video in autumn. And then I suggest that we go outside and we collect some fall leaves. Or maybe I suggest that we go outside and we pick some flowers. Or maybe we go outside and we look at the night sky. whatever it might be, so I can use the videos as a catalyst for activities. In a care setting, maybe what I would do is watch something like, let me go back for a second to my interests. We're going to be doing a segment today on planting. We're going to be planting little seeds in a cup with cotton balls, say. So maybe what I would do is I would play the growing veggies video first to get everybody kind of into that mode. Or maybe we are going to be, I'm making this up as we go along, folks, but maybe we'd watch Let's Dance. And then we put on some good dance music and everybody does chair dancing if they can't stand, or they stand up and they do dancing. Just getting people invested in an activity before we start it. We could watch a painting video and then I bring out the paints. For so many people who are living with dementia, seeing it first helps success, helps drive success. So I'm going to keep going here for a moment. I don't know how many of you have looked at our travel videos, for instance. So again, maybe we're going to be eating Greek food tonight, so we watch the Greece video. Maybe it is St. Patrick's Day, so we watch the Ireland video. The African safari, maybe I watch that and afterwards we watch the elephants video, right? Or maybe we're going to be going out for Mexican food, or it's Cinco de Mayo, so we watch the Mexico video. So we can tie these into conversations and activities. Again, the faith video is where I was headed. I don't know if you're aware that we have all kinds of, these quizzes are actually all coming out of here. Let me just make a note of myself. We were leaving them in for a little while, but we put the quizzes in a different place, and I'll show you where that is. So they're here for now, but they're going to be leaving. But anyway, there are, what a lovely thing to be able to sit down with somebody and do the rosary together, for instance, or say prayers together. This is primarily Christian stuff right now. We do have some Jewish prayers and songs as well, and we would really love to expand this section. Lovely way to start the day for some people would be to sit and do a prayer together. Okay. And you know that we have holiday videos, which are great for activities around the holidays and so on. So I wanted to show you this all day channel as well. So the all day channel, this is more, I think, in community settings where I see people using the all day channel because they will put it up on a wall in a place that has traffic. We do not advocate parking anybody in front of a television screen and watching video all day long or even for hours on end. I don't care what's on the screen. I don't care if it's Zinnia. I don't care what it is. Nobody should just be sitting in a chair by themselves parked in front of a television, period. However, in a community setting, to have something like this playing up on the wall where it goes from dog friends to people and pets to waterfalls, right? It just goes through lots and lots of different topics. What they find is that as residents walk past, they will stop and start watching, and other people will come and they start connecting over what they see on the screen. So as a tool to promote interaction and engagement, I'm all in favor of it. And that is why we have the all day channel. I'm going to pop over here to browse. Let me get my computer to cooperate with me. There we are. Okay, so we're making some changes to this screen, but I want to show you what we have right now. So my list, these are simply videos that I have said I like, and so they pop up here. We route our videos through Vimeo. Vimeo OTT is our host. There's no function within Vimeo that allows us to autoplay the things that are on my list. And I hate that. I see it as a serious downside. And so that's why we are building our own playlist builder. More to come on that. It's not available yet. So here are the channels. So I could access the channels from the top screen by going into channels, or I could just go into the browse, which is where you land when I first open it. And then here I could go into the channels again. We have started creating these playlists. because we recognize that for some people, they will say, my mom just wants to watch babies. So we have a babies playlist and it goes through all of our babies videos. So if I come in here and I play this one, when it ends, it will play this one, then this one, and so on. We have also, so we've just started adding more to this. A good morning playlist. This is what I was talking about. Starts with sunrise, goes to coffee. Then maybe we stop and have breakfast. It's got birds and then some exercises. That will just happen one after the other. And anyway, so you get the idea here. Because we don't yet have the ability for you to create your own playlist, we're building playlists in hopes that they will support you in a meaningful way. So I want to show you these 3 new types of content that we have added that are really meant to create opportunities to stop and talk. So the first are the Today in History videos. And if you have already explored these, thank you for doing so. The way that they work, so here, first of all, where did these come from? It would about drive me bananas that I would show up at my husband's community and somebody would stand up with a document, a PDF, in front of a group of people who were in memory care, and they would say, today in 1822, this happened. Today in 1943, this happened. And I could see people just kind of looking around. The person who was delivering it maybe wasn't really trained in maybe speaking more slowly, maybe speaking in a lower register. So they would just kind of rattle these things off and it was sort of meaningless. And so I really wanted to have something that is a visual conversation starter around things that happened today in history. And that's what these are. So the way that these work is they're fairly slow paced. I don't know if you'll be able to hear them. So I don't know how you feel about AI. I have mixed feelings. It's a great tool for getting some stuff done. We did use AI to help build these, but the images are all not, these are not AI images. But anyway, so let's get this guy playing. And it has started.
Hello, and welcome to Today in History.
I've got that way too loud.
Each day holds special moments from the past. Stories of people, places, and events that shape the world we live in.
I don't know if you guys were able to hear that.
Join us as we take a look back at what happened on this day in years gone by. Science Museum becomes independent. On June 26th, 1909, the Science Museum in London comes into existence as an independent entity.
Okay, so I'm going to just kind of move through here. First Grand Prix, Babe Dietrichson Zaharias' birthday. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to show you our quiz videos. Our quiz videos, we were very fortunate to get funding to test them in both assisted living and long-term care in Massachusetts. And in assisted living, the quiz videos completely bombed, honestly. The people were like, "What? This is so slow." And there's a picture that gives away the answer. Ugh, these are terrible. In memory care, they were a huge hit because they went slowly enough that people could actually pay attention. And they invited answers in a way that was compelling. And there was no way for people to fail. People felt really good about themselves. With these, we're kind of trying to split the difference a little bit. We move it along at a pace that would be acceptable by a person for who is in assisted living. Honestly, the language might move a little quickly for a person in memory care. So if I were a caregiver, I could handle this a couple of ways. One is I could simply mute. And as it comes along, I could pause at each one and say, oh, look, Babe Dietrichson Zaharias' birthday on June 26th. Wow, all the way back in 1911. She was born. She was an American athlete who was famous for golf and track. Honey, don't you remember? We read that story about her. And didn't we have dinner with that guy whose daughter had dated her? Anyway, we know where I'm going with it, right? But it gives me an opportunity. Every one of these gives me an opportunity to pause and have a conversation, even if we just talk about the picture. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the concept of time slips. Wonderful program. It is, but it's built on this concept of having an image and telling a story about it. That's it, basically. And so we could sit together and not even look at the words. And I could say, oh, look at that roller coaster. I think that that one would scare me. Or whatever it is that I want to say. Maybe we'd reminisce about a favorite roller coaster. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's what the Today in History videos are all about, is to help us think about our connection. Can I make a me to image connection? The quizzes, which I mentioned briefly, are organized by channels. And as you saw when I went into faith, we still have them lingering in some other channels. They are all going to be consolidated here, where I could go into animals and nature, for instance, and play all about dogs. And as you can imagine, we'll just watch the very beginning of this one.
How do dogs communicate with other dogs when they meet? Is the answer by wagging their tails? Is it by barking loudly? Or is it by rolling over?
So you can imagine in an assisted living setting, people felt that this was not really fast enough for them. But that's not what it's about, right? We're trying to support people at all different kinds of levels. So we offer these three options, and then we slowly start taking away the options that are not the right answer. So that's what's left is the correct
Dogs
answer.
communicate by wagging their tails, sniffing, and sometimes even barking in a friendly way to greet each other.
Then we move on to the next screen where we just tell a little bit
A wagging
more.
tail can mean many things, from excitement to curiosity.
And I have to tell you, we get such wonderful, wonderful feedback from people who rely on those videos to unlock. That when we watch this video together, he shouts out the answers and he feels so good about himself. Like you can see the dopamine hit. I got it. I got this. I'm the expert. And we just started building these lifelong learning videos. And the way that these work is if I look at history, for instance, and we watch the history of aircraft. Oh, start playing.
The history of aircraft. Humans have dreamed of flight for thousands of years. Long before engines or wings, inventors like Leonardo da Vinci sketched machines inspired by birds. These early ideas showed the desire to rise above the earth. Though they never flew, these drawings laid the imaginative foundation for future breakthroughs. In the late 1800s, pioneers like Otto Lilienthal built and flew gliders. Lilienthal studied birds carefully and made controlled flights by running off hills. His work showed that human flight was possible with the right wind shapes and control. These experiments were crucial steps toward powered flight.
So anyway, this goes through, we look at different images, and then we also pop in these little
What do you
questions.
notice about these early efforts to fly?
And so this is one of the features of these videos is that for even somebody who is perhaps working in long-term care, who's not necessarily comfortable driving a conversation, they're not an activities person, but that person is sick today, so suddenly they need to do this. We invite the questions throughout the video as a way to just get more opportunities to engage people. There are different types of these videos that we're building, and we're still figuring it out. But for instance, how do you do that? Um, this is my brother-in-law, Michael. He has Parkinson's disease. I visited him recently, and I said, and he's lost interest in many things. There's a lot of stuff he doesn't want to do. Sorry, I realize I'm going over a bit. There are a lot of things that he doesn't want to do and that he feels like he can't do. So when I was visiting him, I said, "Hey, Michael, I want to make like a little story about how to build a birdhouse, but I I don't know how to build a birdhouse. Do you know how to build a birdhouse?" And I know he knows how to build a birdhouse. And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Would you mind building a birdhouse with me taking pictures so that I could do a little video?" And he was like, "Well, sure." He was fabulous. He went out and got the wood, he got his tools, he cleaned his workbench, and it was a really fun project. But here's what it looks like. Um,
Building a birdhouse.
I love this how-to idea.
This is Mike. Today he is building a birdhouse. He is going to build the birdhouse here in his workshop. Do you have a workshop in your home?
So anyway, it just goes through. There are his plans. He's measuring the wood. He's using his tools. We asked questions like at one point he was putting a million screws into the birdhouse, and I thought I think I would do that with nails. So I just created that as a question, like, would you use nails or screws if you were building this birdhouse? But anyway, you get the idea. So those are, as I said, some of our newest content that we're continuing to add to and build over in this area. Um, and I think I will go ahead and the activities, these are just ideas for each month of how you could pair different activities with some of our videos. So I'm going to stop my share there, and I am going to invite feedback or questions. Anybody and if there's anything that anybody can add about ways that you use the videos that we could learn from, and I'd also like to just get a sense, maybe you can pop into the chat. Has this been helpful? Have I shared anything that you didn't already know about using the videos? Because if it is helpful, then we'll keep doing this on a regular basis. If it's not helpful, then I'll go for a walk or something. So um, let's just take a look. I'm going to quickly pop in here. I'm popping around in the chat. If you do have a question, go ahead and just unmute and shout it out or type it in as a chat or raise your hand or um, let's see. So the question that Megan asked about um, being unable to get this working on your Apple TV. There we are. Um, Megan, can you and I follow up with an email? Because I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions that I don't want to necessarily have other people sit through because they tend to be pretty specific. We do get calls from people um, who are having difficulty setting things up, and it works really well if we can just have a conversation about that. I'm going to type. I'm Allison at zinniatv.com, which I'll just go ahead and type into the chat. Allison, Alllyson, at zinniatv.com. So anybody is welcome to reach out to me. Oh, thank you, Karen. Cool that you're going to try some new things with your mom and do continue doing it. I'm happy to continue doing it. The other thing that I'm going to be doing, and I'll send an email about this maybe today. We have in the past tried this and then I stopped because we didn't have a lot of people who attended, but I'm going to put on the calendar for sometime in the next couple of weeks a watch with And you know what? I'll actually just share my screen again for a second to show you what I'm talking about. Um, we have a video that we created just kind of on a lark. There was a guy who worked in long-term care, and he said, I need a video. My staff is just completely overwhelmed, and I need a video that they can watch um, together. Sorry, I'm just opening it up here. I need a video that my staff can have the people in memory care sit and watch, that will allow my staff to just sit and watch with them, like something that's sort of self-driving. 20 minutes. I'm just asking for 20 minutes. So I created this video, and I am always a little embarrassed sharing this, and we have a few more of them in there now, and I'd love to know if people want more of these. But this video what I like about it is that for people who do work in activities, it gives you a sense of how I use the videos as an activity, like how I talk through the video, how I welcome people to connect with me through the video. And so he wanted 20 minutes. These videos are 40 minutes long. This one's 40 minutes long. And when I have used it in long-term care, almost nobody gets up and leaves. They stay engaged. And so the way that it works, and again, the reason I'm embarrassed to share this is because it's me. I'm just like, because I am the talent that I can afford. So here I am. Hi.
Hi, my name is Allison, and I'm really glad that I get to spend some time with you today.
So anyway, I talk about my dog, and then we start watching a dog's video together.
Oh my goodness, look at that little puppy. He's adorable.
And I ask questions like, do you have a dog? What's your favorite dog? And then we do the same thing with cats. I chat about cats. We do a little song together. And then I talk about babies, and we watch a baby's video. So the reason that I brought this up, I'm going to stop my share now. The reason I brought this up is because I'm going to be doing a live watch with, which is just, I'm going to pick a video that's only 15 minutes long, and I'm going to, it is intended to be for care partners, for people who are those providing care and people who are the lucky recipients of that care. And we're going to sit together, and I'll have the volume turned on, and I'll chat a bit. Then we're going to watch a video together, and then we're going to invite people to talk maybe about their dog, or maybe about something that they noticed when they were watching. Maybe we'll do cats. I don't know. But I'm going to send out an invitation to that. And depending on how that goes, if people come and if they like it, then we'll start doing it on a regular basis. It'd be lovely to build up a community of people who get together on a regular basis and watch videos together and have conversations. I am all about trying to normalize stuff for people. Yeah, Karen, I hear that. You wish you could use it on her TV instead of her tiny cell phone. Do you want to talk? Are you still here? Yeah. Do you not? It's because it's not installed on her TV? Oh, well, email me if it's something that you'd like to. Yes, you can mirror your cell phone with a TV. There are some a little bit of like stuff to make that work, but we have people that do it. People who use like an iPad or their phone, and they cast it to their television, and that can work. Um, and yep, we are in quite a few memory cafes and other kinds of activity groups. And what did you say there, Barbara? I want to encourage, oh, Doug's caregivers to use Zinnia. Yeah, you know what? I wish that we could make more of a play in home health. People who go into other people's homes and provide care to give respite to the caregiver. I think it would be great if they use Zinnia. I think we need to get over a, I guess, a belief that that they're wasting time if they're watching TV together. Like, I paid you to be here. I don't want you watching TV together. But if the TV, we don't look at it that way. We look at it as though the TV is simply the thing through which we route the tool. And the tool are videos to promote connection and conversation, soothe agitation, and so on. The cost for streaming Zinnia. Zinnia is $70 a year and or $9.99 a month. And then in addition, what type of person can set it free? Well, so that's what the cost is per year. And it doesn't work on all TVs. Like if you have an LG TV and you buy Zinnia, you're going to say it doesn't work. It won't, because we only have apps for iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Samsung, and it doesn't work on all Samsungs. But that means that if you, for $30, you can get a Roku stick or an Amazon Fire stick, and then it works on any TV. So it's not that you can't get it. It's just that it takes one more extra step, which is that you need that stick. So on our website, we have a list of what operating systems, what TVs are supported. And we're always happy to get email and try to help people figure it out. And yeah, Karen, definitely reach out to me and we'll try to figure that out together. Okay, my friends, I said we have run over by 10 minutes. I'm gonna hang on and just pop through the chats, make sure there's nothing else that I can answer right now. I shared my email. All right, I think we're good. Again, we have recorded this. I will be sending out the recording. You can share it with other people if you would like. And it's always then going to live on our YouTube station. So if anybody wants, they can go watch it later there as well. So that's it for today, friends. I really appreciate your feedback. I appreciate you being here. And I love that Doug is going to a piano lesson. Barbara, that's great. And I hope to see you again soon. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.